what would you tell a Nigerian in practical terms to be able to navigate the season we're in?
There are three questions that anyone that wants to make a significant shift must be willing to answer. Three questions. Number one, what exactly is happening? Number two, how do you feel about it? And number three, do you want to change?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I welcome you to this evening's edition of our conversations, our Instagram live conversations. This evening is a very interesting one for me because this evening I'm going to be engaging someone who I think is one of the brightest minds to handle the current season we're in. I love this song, by the way. Yes. Tell your friends, call everybody, let them join in. This evening is going to be a great one. Yes, sir. Yes, this evening we're talking about handling pressure, handling transitions, and the emotions that come with them. Yes, sir. And I know that based on the current realities of our environment and where we find ourselves, from COVID-19 to the pressure of some people having to lose jobs, the pressure of protest, Nigeria looking like today, for instance, another news hit the airwaves that we have entered into another recession. And so there's so much uncertainty. Many people are handling silent pressures. But like I always say, I trust that this evening we'll be able to help ourselves, understand the emotions, the pains, the stretch of handling transitions. This evening I'm having a very good friend of mine, a silent mover. I call him a silent mover because I like men who do things in the quiet quarters of their corner, building steadily as they move towards progress and success. Mr. Dele Ayobankole is live now, and I'll just invite him.
I'll set this ball rolling, by the way. I beg your pardon. Set the ball rolling. Yes. Hey, good evening, boss.
Good evening, bro. Wow, so good to see you again.
It's good to see you. You're looking well. Are you sure you're in Nigeria?
Where we won't go now, we are all here together.
Somebody asked me about relocation, and I told the person the only relocation we know now is move there, train, come back, lecture there, come back, go there, come back. The only passport we want to have now is a diplomatic passport. So if we get one, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Good to have you here. I have literally seen you evolve, evolve from just one aspect of training and learning. You evolved into pastoring. Now you're spreading your tentacles, so the man is many-sided, really. He's many-sided. So I'll allow him to talk to us about what he does and the things that he is involved in. So my first question for you this evening is just to introduce yourself to the house. And who is Dele Bankole?
Okay, yeah. Yes. Dele Ayobankole, one word, helping people to make critical transitions in life. Transition can mean many things to many people. But one word that may be a synonym for transition is mom. Okay, you are not yet where you want to be. For another person, can be better. For another, transition can be happier. You want to live a happier life. You want to live a better. For some people, it could be, like we said jokingly, relocation. You want to move from one place to another.
To another, yeah.
That means that wherever you are right now is not the ultimate for you. There's something that you want. There's still something you are aiming for. So if it's critical to you, then I am your go-to person.
All right. So now, this is the first question. How? Now, this year, you know, I've heard people say 2020, please come and go. This year has produced major pressure points for people, from family to business to jobs to people have had to downsize, you know, then the deaths, then the NSAS protests, the pressure, the security situation. There's just so much going on. So I'll ask this as a personal question, and I'll ask you to tell people what to do. Now, how do you keep your mind in check? How have you been able, in the midst of the pressure, to be able to say to yourself, no, this won't last always? How have you been able to help yourself through it?
Well, okay, if you ask me personally, what I have been able to do in the course of this year is to tell myself, what can I do in this situation? See, naturally, as human beings, we tend to always want to focus on the negative. And if you look around you, what sells? Look at the headlines. Look at the news. Like someone said that if you say that a man is riding a horse, it is not news. But if you say that a man is carrying a horse, that is news.
Yeah.
You know, that news. Everybody wants to know, oh, a man is carrying a horse.
A horse,
for many people, it looks like it is a normal thing for people to, just focus on that negative. So personally, what I have done is, how can I help people to manage this transition? In fact, one of the things I started doing in the course of the lockdown is I started YouTubing. And basically, I want to solve problems for people. I started with coping strategies during the lockdown. That was what I started with. So I started during the lockdown fully, and then coping strategies, and then I evolved to talking about mindset, the things that affect people's minds and why they see life the way they see life. And of course, I've also started talking about some other things, about building structures, about maximizing your potentials as a person, even in the midst of uncertainties. You know, like I said, I focus more on people who are in between. So the people that will love my channel the most are people who are feeling in between.
In between.
If you feel like you feel like you're made, you may not enjoy my topic, subject, but if you feel like there's something I need to make this shift, I need to go to those places, then it means that you are someone I am talking to. You know, so that's one of the things I have done. And then I realized that once we take the focus from ourselves to other people, it's just the law of life. Like someone said, what you want others to do for you, then you also do it for them.
Do it for others.
So what I have done, focusing on what my own challenges are, focusing on there's lockdown, there's no money in circulation and all of that. What I have done is to look at the problems and begin to offer solutions. And of course, it is in the offering the solution that we are reconnecting again.
Actually.
And that's what happens for many people. The people that are complaining about the lockdown are those who are boxed in the problems. They are always thinking of the problem. Inflation, there's protests all over the world, things are not working, it's not coming as it should be. You know, so once people begin to focus on those things that are not working, their mind begins to create more of what is not working. Because it's a law of attraction. Someone says whatever you focus on has a tendency to get bigger. So if one focuses on those things that are not working, you will be seeing more of the things that are not working. So what I have done is to make the switch to rather focus on the things that are working, focus on the things I can do, focus on the things that I can change, and in the process, solving more problems for people. So I'm doing things in the church and outside of the church because I can see that there are more problems for more people outside of the church. So I have to create a solution that doesn't require me always quoting the Bible so that I can reach people that that not buy with the ideology of the Bible. I don't know if you understand that.
I agree.
Like a famous preacher said that to the Jews I became a Jew, to the Gentiles I became a Gentile.
Yeah.
We will be able to create solutions that cut across religion, that cut across cultures, that cut across tribes or anything, you know, and that's what the life solution is all about. And that's basically what I'm doing, to make sure that I am not also caught off in the lockdown.
In the pressure. Yes. So you have spoken a lot. You have even also put some certain things into perspective about focus and attention. So I have this confession to make. In the midst of the pandemic, and you see, one of the pressure points of people who are maybe gifted, talented, and exposed is that if you're not careful, you begin to ask yourself, "What are you doing here?" You know, because there is that tendency to say, "Oh, if I was in locations that are Sena climbs, in the context of Sena climbs, I can be a lecturer in a school now, or be consulting, I'll be blah 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 blah," and you see, that's because of perspective. You know, you literally can go to those countries and find out that it's not as you think it to be. You know, so what I wrote here is paying attention. You have helped us understand that what you focus your mind on is what will grow. If you focus on negativity, it will grow. If you focus on positive things, it will also grow. By the way, I'm on Mr. Dele Ayobankole's YouTube page, beautiful YouTube page with solid content. The psychology of rejection. I think I like that one. I like that one. It looks like a beautiful title. Yeah. Now, I also have this question. One of the challenges, and it has even also affected me in my running my company and all that. Developing solutions for Nigerians is a very complex thing. Complex in the sense that Nigerians, our behavioral patterns, our culture, and many things. It's a complex environment. In design thinking, it's called a wicked problem. You know, when you are trying to solve one, another problem opens up. As you're trying to solve one, another problem opens up. It's like when you're trying to sell a training and people are asking you, "How will he help me?" You know, people are asking. So people prefer to go and pay $50,000. People prefer to go and pay $1,000 to learn fashion design than to pay $1,000 to come and learn how to manage the psychology of their mind, how to evolve. You understand what I mean? That's just the environment we find ourselves. That's the complexity of our environment. Now, what would you tell a Nigerian in practical terms to be able to navigate the season we're in? You know, we're in a season where the oil prices are interesting, exchange rate is crazy. Certain people are at the crossroad, if you know what I mean. People don't know what to do to get themselves out. Many families are trying to adjust, you know, with children having to go to school, families trying to find food. Now, in all that noise, in all of that, I think that there is something practical. You know, I was going to say this before I forget. I've been listening to some men over the last 2 weeks, and what you will constantly hear is, "This is not new." This is not new, in the sense that this cycle has been here before, if you know what I mean. This cycle has been here before, you know. So that's a consolation for me. It's like a cycle; it will pass. You know, we saw civil war. They will tell us that we saw civil war. You didn't see civil war. We saw this. You didn't see. So it's the cycle of life, really. Now, with that in mind, what would you tell a person who is listening in now, who will watch this later? This is where we are as a country. What do you need to do so that when the train moves, because we will not be here forever. Once this train moves, what are the things you need to put together? What's the state of mind you need to be in to be able to walk into that next phase of your life moving forward from today?
Okay, so I don't know if I'll be permitted to do a little lecture. That's why I decided to use my
your whiteboard. That's fine. If you can bring it close, if you can see, that's fine. We're in class.
If I'm going to answer that question, my own study and meditation and the things that I practice, there are 3 questions that anyone that wants to make a significant shift must be willing to answer. 3 questions. Number 1 is, what exactly is happening? Number 2, how do you feel about it? And number 3, do you want to change? Let me take it again. Number 1, what exactly is happening?
What exactly
Number 2, how do you feel about it?
How do you feel about it?
And number 3, do you want to change? So permit me to, like I said, let me.
Yeah. We're good to go. We're in class.
Is it visible enough? Can you see my board?
Yeah, we can, but it's a bit far, but we can.
Okay, no problem. Let me try and move my camera a bit closer. Yeah. Is it better now?
Yeah, it is.
Okay, so the first one is the event, which is what is happening. Okay, is that okay? So the event, and then the next question, the next one is your feeling. Your feeling about the event. And then the third one is your willingness. Okay, so I'm going to leave that for now. So what I have here, so the first one is what exactly is happening, the event. People don't even understand what the event is. For many people, what they are seeing is COVID, the virus. But for somebody who understands economics, for somebody who understands business, for somebody who understands innovation, you know that the event itself is actually disruption.
Yes, sir.
So for someone who is only seeing COVID, the person will only be seeing the problem. But if you understand that for every shift in human existence, there is always that comes to create some level of discomfort. So the discomfort can come in any way. For some people, that discomfort could be that you get sacked from your work. Discomfort that requires somebody to make a shift. For some people, that you will lose someone that you have become emotionally attached to. So that's the disruption that someone needs. For someone, it could be that the person will make an investment and you lose all your money. That's the disruption that someone needs. So that event is very important for anybody to make any significant shift in life. The event is key, and we must understand the event. So if we don't understand the event, we may misinterpret what that event means. So for somebody, it's like, hey, all my investment, where do I start from? I am finished, But if you can correctly interpret that event, then you know that you are a step ahead of many other people. Now, the interpretation we give the event, we determine our feeling about that event. So for some people right now, because they interpret COVID as a threat to their lives, as a threat to their business, they are afraid. For some people, they are just boxed. They don't even know what to do right now. They are just boxed. That's some people right now. They just. So you hear people like that saying that we are just waiting for 2020 to be over. As if the calendar year is over, all their problems will be over. as if the year we just carry the problems away.
Let go.
Like that. No problem goes away with a year. They don't. The new year doesn't bring in anything. There's no difference between December 31 and January 1. It is just another day.
Yeah.
So what change between December 31 and January 1 is if the person changes. And what will change is their interpretation of events in their life. And of course, their feelings about it.
Yeah.
Have feelings that are negative, feelings of depression, feelings of regret, feelings of shame, things like that do not allow us to bring out our creative juices and come up with solutions that help us to be able to impact the world. So when you see people always complaining, they don't have solutions around them. They don't.
Solutions.
So they are always waiting and expecting that people, so they're always looking for pity, somebody to pity them, somebody to rub them on the back, and all of that, because of the way they feel about it. So the way we feel about it will help us to answer that last question, and which is our will to change. Do you actually want to? Some people are okay just staying where they are. I remember a few years ago, I went to Redemption. If you are not a Christian and watching this, but what I want to share is very important. I think it was 2009 or so. I went for the August convention. And in that atmosphere where a lot of miracles happened that particular year, I was actually on campground all through the 1 week event. So when the event was over and we were leaving the campground, I saw one layman sitting by the roadside, and the guy was begging for alms. In my mind, I felt, did this guy make any attempt to even come into the campground
And see whether
if I can get, but he was comfortable with asking people, hey, give me 5 naira, give me, like the beautiful, the man and the beautiful gate, like Bible. So in my mind, I felt like, did this guy even make any move at all to even see if I can get healing, if I can get help? But as far as he's concerned, the 20 naira and 50 naira and 100 naira that people will give him, he's okay with it. So you see, people who are boxed up in their emotions because they are not willing to change. They are boxed up. So they just like it that people are giving them handouts. They just like it that people just give them, and all of that. They're just okay. So there's no willingness to change. So now when people do not understand the event and they have their own feelings about it, now this is what happens. So between the event and the wrong feelings, the person is stuck. I hope you got that.
I got that. Stuck.
Yes. Okay. So between the event and the feeling. So if someone is just caught up between the event and their feelings, they can't interpret the event correctly, or they can't have the right feelings that will help them to make the needed shift. They get stuck. And this can happen to an individual, and it can also happen to a nation. For example, the came to us in Nigeria a few weeks ago. Look at the interpretation that leaders are giving the disruption. What it means is that we are all stuck again now. So instead of us having the will to effect the change, we are stuck because we felt despised. That how can these small children be talking to us? This African culture thing and all of that. So it can happen to a nation. It can happen to an. So once we don't understand that, the person is stuck. Now, if the person is stuck between feeling and having the willingness to change. Okay, person has a wrong feeling about the event and the person lacks the will to change, someone like that becomes a victim. The person becomes a victim. So most times, people who have the victim mentality are people who wrongly interpret events, have negative feelings about the event, and are not willing to change. So they are stuck in between that willingness to make that shift. So they are always seeing themselves as a victim. You know, I will always remember when I first left school. I finished my NYSC and I came back to Lagos. And at that point, let me say I wasn't looking for a job because I have an idea of what I wanted to do. You know,
Yeah.
there was a time I was broke without the E.
That's broke. Was that broke?
You know, there was a time I was really broke, and because I knew the kind of person that I am and where I was going, I told myself that I would rather create value than beg people to give me something, to give me handouts and all of that. So I asked myself, what can I use to keep myself going for the time being? What can I do right now? Doesn't require me to maybe invest a lot of money and all of that. And I thought of dry cleaning business. So I went to him and I told him, can I learn dry cleaning with you for some weeks? And I stayed with the guy for like 2 or 3 weeks. I learned the rudiments of dry cleaning and I started doing that business. So I realized that there are actually people in my neighborhood who wanted to give me money, but because they did not want me to be begging for it.
Oh,
when I told them
value.
When I told them I was doing that business, do you know that money started changing hands? So some people will give me more money than what I was charging for the service. I don't know if you understand that.
I agree.
Because I was adding to the people.
Yeah.
But once somebody gets that right frame of mind and the willingness to take immediate action, they become victims. They are stuck in between their feeling and the willingness to make a move. So we have a lot of people today that, in spite of what we call pandemic, which is the disruption, many people are stuck because they are having negative feelings about the whole thing. Some are sad, some are depressed, some are anxious, some are weak. They don't just know what to do. They don't know how to manage the situation. So that's what we have right now. When people don't have the right feelings and they don't have the right interpretation of the event, but they go out and act all the same, this is what happens. They suffer what I call frustration. A lot of people are frustrated because they are trying to do something that they don't understand. They are trying to solve a problem that they don't understand. So you see some people making investments and their investments are eating a brick wall. They are just not eating, they're just not making it. So they keep making mistakes upon mistakes upon mistakes upon mistakes. Things are not just working out for them because they don't have the correct interpretation of the event. So for us to make that shift, which is the core of the question, is how can we practically, make that shift that we need to make? So these three things have to be in balance. Number one, right interpretation of what is happening. What we can see on the surface is COVID, but the right interpretation of it is disruption. Nations who understand this have gone ahead. So for some nations, they started producing face masks. For some organizations, they just changed their business completely. They changed their model and everything because for them it's a disruption. So what it means that we were selling before, a lot of the aircraft companies became cargo companies because people had to move equipment, they had to move goods and all of that. So they had to change their structure, they had to change their modus operandi because that is a disruption. You don't keep doing what you have always done in a disruption. So first, one must understand this is what is happening. What exactly is happening? The second thing is, how do you feel about it? If you have a negative feeling about an event, if you have a negative feeling about someone, you will not be able to think straight. One will not be able to produce what it should produce. So if we are sincere with ourselves, you realize that we have our best ideas, we have our best output when we are in a state of calm, when we are in a state of peace. That's when we have our best. Because at that time there is peace within you. You are not rattled about the things happening around you, what other people are saying, and all of that. You are all within you, and that's one key to making the shift. And then you have the willingness to change. Because it's one thing to know what is happening, it's another thing to be willing to change. Some people are willing to change because they feel satisfied with the status quo. They feel that this is the way things should always be. Like we say in our part of the world, let us do it like we have always done it. So that we can have the results that we have always got. So for many people, they are just satisfied with that status quo. Let it just be the way it has always been.
Has always been.
How willing we are to make that shift. That's what
that change.
That change that we all desire. So to wrap it, answer the question, what exactly is happening. In answering that question, we don't take it from the face value. There are more things beyond what is visible. And then how do you feel about it? And the third one is, are you willing to change? So I'm going to stop. Let's ask some more questions.
It is amazing. It's like we are in a classroom as you dissected all the various aspects or angles of that conversation. Beautiful. Thank you very much. I've understood the power of interpreting the event, also understanding how you feel about it, and your willingness to make the change. Your willingness to make the change. In this COVID period, for instance, I have remodeled our business, and we have refocused. We registered a new business. The same message, but we changed the vehicle. The same message, but we adopted the vehicle. We recalibrated what we intended to sell and what we intend to do. So thank you very much for explaining all that aspect of it. But I also want you to we have about 9 more minutes. I always like to do it for 45 minutes. Somebody says, why don't I do the 1 hour? I don't do the 1 hour because, data for a lot of people is a very interesting thing. So I try to keep it as brief as possible so we can have the best of time. Looking at where we are now as a nation and as a people, what is your suggestion or your message to people who are in Nigeria today and have decided to say, you know what, I'm going to build, I'm going to design, I'm going to work on this, I'm going to work on that? What is your clear suggestion to them on the best way to manage the current realities in Nigeria? I know you have spoken about the events and feelings and their willingness to change. For instance, I have this very good friend of mine. My office is in the same compound as he is. I call him my landlord because we use his property and space around. And one of the things he always says is, you teachers and knowledge sharers Sometimes you guys give people lofty ideas as to how they can interpret stuff and all, because people are hungry, people are apprehensive, people are tired, and I get all that, but I'm not Jesus, neither are you. We can just help as much as we can, to do what we can. We really cannot help everybody. If we could, the world would have been a better place. You will always have those outliers or those splinter groups come up. But we were saying we want to try our best. Now, for a business person or a young person running a business, what state of mind do you think he needs to have? What are the things you think are benchmarks for managing evolution, managing change, and managing what is currently happening in Nigeria and the continent as a whole?
If I'm going to talk to business people, like you said at the beginning of the conversation, that this is a cycle. It will always change. Okay. So one of the things we need to remind ourselves is that this will not be forever. Okay. This is not the first time the world will be suffering from a pandemic. In fact, we've had endemic, I think, like a few years back, the time of Ebola. It didn't go over the world, So this is not the first time we'll be having things like this. It's a cycle. It will come and it's going to be over soon. So the point is, what can I do now that will help me at least to survive this period? One thing is, think first survival, then as you survive, you begin to thrive. But if somebody doesn't survive, there's nothing to build on. So, like the example I gave the other time, when I saw that I was broke without the E, I told myself, what can I do now to help me survive this period? I knew even from that time that wasn't the business I was going to do all my life. And I knew that season was going to come and go. But I needed to survive that season. So I had to think of something I could do to add value to people that could give me exchange in return, money in exchange. And I got it. And so that's the question that every one of us need to ask ourselves this season. What can I do in the immediate that, even though this is not my passion, at times all these passion thing, you are passionate about something that is not profitable. I'm concentration, so I think the first question is, what is profitable that I can do now? That I can do. Somebody shared like a testimony with me how his kind of business is importing, and he imports heavy duty equipment. So you can imagine that of the pandemic, he didn't have any business.
Wow.
But some by provision, by providence rather, he had two major orders. And those two orders gave him a level of income he had never had since he started his business.
Wow.
So the wise thing for him to do, instead of still waiting for the next order next year, is to divest the profit into daily cash. Yes, is to divest. So instead of saying, okay, let me be spending this money and waiting for the next order, another 6 months, another divest the profit into something that can give you daily income, even if it is 5,000 but at least that your cash flow is that money comes into every day. Like someone said, dig. You should dig, daily income goal. That should be the objective of every business person. Now you have to dig, daily income goal. So divest into something that can give you money on a daily basis, no matter how small. That will help you to at least survive the season. So when the whole thing is over and then the economy booms again, then you can now say, okay, now let me go back to my business and all of that. But the truth is that one is focused on whatever it is that can help you to go through this period without going down, without you having to depend on people to pay your bills and all of that. So I think That's very, very important. Just a wise.
Wow, this is so critical. It's so critical because what I've learned over the years is the practicality of wisdom.
Yeah.
So you made something about, you said something about passion without frustration, and one of the things one of the things we learned late in life was understanding that it's okay if you want to do things for free for people. Passion works. If you want to just help people, that's okay. But if you are in business, there must be a market. Business is about markets. No matter how beautiful your idea is, it is about market. If there is no market for that idea, there is no need being in business, if you know what I mean. So those are the things. Those are the things I learned from the current, just moving through life. Those are the things I learned. Somebody must be paying you for something. And I also liked one thing you said here about if you want to collect money from people and you are shy of begging, create a product that you can then use as a medium of exchange. That's what I've learned from you tonight. I'm sure people who will watch this, when we send them the video, will be excited about how you took us through that brief 10-12 minutes of events, feelings, and willingness to change. Brother, I'm so grateful for what you have done. Some of the things I've also learned is the limits or the precision of wisdom, and not in the volume of discussions, but the precision of conversations. And I like what you have done this evening. I think we need to do something bigger, maybe a Zoom or something where we can have more people be able to ask questions, because there are certain things you have had conversations on here today about events, feelings, and willingness to change that we can help people navigate through life practically. Thank you very much once again. So this evening, I just want you to drop a parting shot. We always do that on the Conversations Instagram Live. A parting shot for people, for anybody who's watching this now, who's going to watch this later. What are your parting thoughts for us this evening?
Okay, parting thoughts in managing transitions in life is number one, be clear about exactly what you want in life. And number two is that be willing to stay put until you get to that point that you actually want to get to. Sometimes the journey will be rough. Sometimes you can experience traffic. Sometimes you can even have an accident on the road. Some things will not think they would go, but always keep your gaze on the destination, because if you don't quit, if you don't give up, you will eventually get there. Let me leave you with this Yoruba quote. They will say that the pig will get to Oyo is the noise. The noise.
Yeah.
Keep your eyes on the goal. Keep pushing, walking, keep moving. If you can't run, walk. If you can't walk, crawl. If you whatever it is, just make sure you are moving. So that will be all for tonight. Dayo Samuel is just joining. Oh no, we've landed up ready.
I just saw him now and I was very upset. That why is he just coming in? Don't wave at me. I'm angry. All righty. Thank you very much for your thoughts this evening. I can't tell you how excited I am, because you have even helped me personally to understand how to interpret events, understand what feelings I'm having to deal with, how am I feeling about it, and whether I am willing to change. Now, those two set cycles make sense to me, because some people are actually comfortable with negative feelings. I'm sure if we had given you more time, you would have dissected the other angles of it, because some people feel negative but are not willing to change. they like the negative emotions that are coming through the whole process.
People, that negative feeling gives them a lot of companion. People are belle.
Sympathy votes.
In them, how are you feeling now? How are you doing? Now that just they are comfortable with it, so they don't want to change because they love the attention they are getting. So that's what the way for many people.
Wow, wow, wow. So what we do with this Saturday evening conversations is that we'll try to bring people who are technocrats or experts, or people who have literally worked a period in those fields and can help people. 45 minutes is so short a time for us to say, oh, we have done everything. But what we want to do is to help with the precision of thoughts and send certain messages that can get people thinking. You know, people, anybody this night who hears about events, feelings, and willingness to change will certainly go and sit down and process in his head what is the best way to navigate through life. Thank you very much, sir. Please, for those who are watching, please follow Daily Ayo Bankole on Instagram. You can also, if you're watching this later, follow Daily Ayo Bankole on Instagram. Also, his YouTube channel. Very, very, very interesting YouTube channel. I think you should all go check it out. It's Daily Ayo Bankole too. He has loads and loads of videos that you can watch and be excited. 4 wrong ways to handle rejection, the psychology of rejection. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful topics that I'm sure will make so much sense to you. So please go on there and listen to this.